Now for the next part, we have the query pretty much created the code for the database. So in the first part, I created the books table. At this point, it's actually empty. There's no data in the table so far. This table contains a book ID, or the primary key, the book name, the date published, and the genre of the book. The next table that I created is the authors table. Just as before, it is empty, so at this point, it contains a primary key, which is the author's ID. It contains author's name and the location of the author. The next table that I created is the publishers table. So just as before, again, the table is empty. It contains a primary key, the publisher's ID, publisher's name, and the location of the publisher. Then I created the table that established the relationship, which is called books has authors. This is where this table contains the foreign keys for each one of the tables, such as the books and the authors. In this table here, each book, the books table is references the authors. As you can see here, there's no data entered. And the same goes for the next table that I created to establish the relationship between authors and publishers. This table as well contains the foreign keys for both relationships. This is where I inserted the data into the records for the books table. So I inserted 5 records, starting with the primary key, the name of the book, the year published, and the genre. In this case is education. As you can see, the table is filled out with all the information. Then I inserted records into the authors table. Just as before, it's got a primary key for the author, it's got the name of the author, and it's got the location of the author. The table is filled with all the information. Then I inserted the table into the publishers table. It's got a primary key, the name of the publisher, and the location of the publisher. Table is filled with all the records inserted. Inserting the data into the book has authors table. This contains the primary key and the foreign keys for each one of the tables. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the foreign key for the books table, and 20, 30, 40, 10, and 20 is the foreign key for the authors table. As you can see, I actually inserted 20 twice. Later on, you're gonna see how one author has multiple books. This is the table. Inserting the table into the authors and publishers. Again, primary key, author's ID, and publisher's foreign key. This is where I start searching for a book in the books table. So I type in the name of the book that I'm looking for, and it will display the record. With this code, I want to order in descending order the dates of every book that's been published. In this case, it starts from 2006 all the way to 1998. This is for multiple entries. So since one author, as I mentioned before, can have multiple books, this author with a foreign key of 20 has published 2 books, 1 and 5. This is if I wanted to search for an author that starts with the letter J. This is the code. The percentage sign means that it truncates everything after the letter J, so it only matters, the only thing that matters is J. And I found 2 records, James and Jason. This is the in-between code where I want to find out which books were published between 2000 and 2005. These are the records. This is to select the authors that were published by the same publisher. So I enter the foreign key of the publisher, and it gives me 2 records. In this part here, I wanted to update the location of the publisher or the parent table. I changed the location to Miami. As you can see here, iUniverse, the name of the publisher, was changed to Miami. And this part here is to update the child table. Now, there's a few things that we have to take in consideration when updating a child table. First of all, the child table is the resolutions table for the many-to-many relationship, meaning that is the table that contains the foreign keys. We have to be very careful when we do so, when we do any changes, and the reason why is because we can't really change any foreign keys that are attached to the parents. So we can do an update or change the primary key. In this case, I changed the primary key from 200 to 250 on record. And if I wanted to update the foreign key to 25, the system immediately throws an error. As you can see here, I can't do so. It is impossible for me to change a foreign key since it's attached to a parent table. Now, in the other hand, deleting a record or doing an update in a parent table, it is possible. However, one of the things that I learned from this project is that the table needs to be cascaded with its child. What that means is that if I delete a book with a book ID number 3, as you can see here, the book was deleted, this cascades down to the child table. This is the child table with a book ID of 300, which contains a foreign key of number 3, which is the one that I deleted, and an author's foreign key of 40. As you can see, this record was deleted also in the child table. The end.